it was definitely worth it. If I could do it again, I totally would.
It was really neat. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
Students don't always get that excited about required college classes, but not every college class takes its students out of the country. The Drury Breech School of Business is one of those exceptions, because they require their students to study overseas to enrich their academic careers.
The Breech School of Business has as its mission preparing ethical leaders for the global business community. And we do that every day in our classes, but we recognize that's not enough. So this opportunity to go out and be engaged, to go out and experience in a study abroad environment is exactly what our students need to make this material come alive, to be prepared to serve the businesses they're going to work with.
About half of all of Drury's traditional undergraduates study abroad sometime during their college careers. Even Drury's current president, Todd Parnell, studied in London as a Drury undergraduate in 1968.
I think Drury values international study because of the nature of this place. A liberal arts institution with a strong commitment to pre-professional training as well. Study abroad is a natural.
Yelena Bosovic was born in the Ukraine, but immigrated to the U.S. when she was 8 years old. In the summer of 2011, she returned to Europe for the first time on a Drury trip to London, where she studied globalization.
The only way to kind of explain globalization is to experience it firsthand. And so our classes, we were usually in class from 8 to 3, and our class included going to major landmarks, museums, exhibitions, kind of anything that's going on that kind of relates to globalization. So we visited all the major museums, and we took trips to markets and just anything that could kind of expose us to more cultures and stuff. We had a few times we were in the classroom, we had some discussions and a lecture, but most of the time we spent out traveling and visiting places.
Senior Amber Hayden spends many of her afternoons on the softball field, but she also took some time off in the summer of 2011 to visit Drury's Center in Greece. Hayden valued the academic study, but her immersion in Greek culture after meeting a young English-speaking native was the highlight.
She took us around and introduced us to her friends and just immersed us in their culture, and that was just really cool. We wouldn't have got that otherwise. It wouldn't have been the trip it was without it, just because we actually got to interact with young people our age, in the Greek culture, so it was really neat.
Drury tuition applies to semester-long study abroad programs, and financial aid also applies. Short-term study abroad costs less, but it's an extra expense. However, many students do qualify for loans to help pay for study abroad, and despite the extra cost, those students that do study overseas never regret the experience.
I rarely visit with a student that returns from an international experience with Drury that doesn't say to me, Michael, this was a great experience. And it was, in many cases, they'll say to me, it was a life-changing experience. And so it does mean sometimes financial sacrifice, but in the long term, there likely will not come a time in a young person's life again where they can go to another part of the world and study and experience another culture for a month or for 4 months, like this time in their lives. So from my perspective, it is money well spent.